walk out on that field today, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We made it. And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We made it. And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Nope, game's not over. Just getting started right here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. All right, y'all. Glad to be back. Talk Your Team Tuesday. Got a lot to talk about in these 30 minutes, so let's just get at it right now. NBA play-in gets started tonight. NBA play-in gets started tonight. The early game will be, let me get right to it. Yep. Early game tonight is going to be Atlanta visiting the Miami Heat. And I'm going to tell you something about the Heat. This is their time of year. Remember what they did in the bubble? Remember how they walked that thing all the way to the finals? They ended up losing, but they still got there. Jimmy Butler, he relishes this time of year. And we'll see if they can get a win over the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta's got some issues going on. You know, they changed coaches midseason. Everything I hear is that they're going to try to trade Trae Young after the season. And I mean it. That might be a little bit too much to overcome against the Miami Heat. I'm taking Miami in this one tonight. Then you got the LA Lakers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves in LA. LeBron James and them did not want to be in the play-in, but if they win tonight, they lock down that number 7 seed, and they don't have to play anymore until they take on the number 2 seed, Memphis Grizzlies. But to Minnesota, oh my goodness, Kyle Anderson, Rudy Gobert swinging. Kyle Anderson, little reckless with his mouth, and I've heard from people in San Antonio about him when he was a bit younger, and that mouth would get him in trouble. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes down. Rudy Gobert will not play tonight. He is suspended for tonight's game. But if the Lakers get the win, they lock down that number 7 seed. If Minnesota gets the win, they lock down that number 7 seed. And the Lakers will then try to be playing for the number 8 seed. So we'll see how that goes down. 6:30 tonight on TNT Central for the Hawks and Heat. 9 p.m. tonight, TNT Central for Timberwolves and Lakers. And this is my time of year when it comes to the NBA, playoff time. Regular season, 82 games. It's a wrap. It's long. But anyway, got to talk about the Rockets as well. The Houston Rockets finished on a 3-game win streak. They beat Washington in their final game to finish with a record of 22-60. And then they promptly decided that they were not going to pick up a 4th year on head coach Stephen Silas. Now, from what I've been told, I was not there. I don't know. Other than what I've been told, I trust the source. Stephen Silas got the word that he would not be retained while they were still in the locker room in the arena in Washington. That's trash. That's trash. That's low budget stuff. The Rockets know better and should absolutely do better, but they didn't. So yesterday you have Rafael Stone talking about what a great guy Stephen Silas was, how there were no issues other than it went enough. And he felt like it was time to get a different voice as they take this next step in their maturation to the team that they want to be. Here's my thing, man. Did y'all tell Stephen Silas you were only going to get us through the rebuild and then we moving on? If you did, and he knew that, then all right, my bad. I don't like it, but okay, I got you. But if you told that man, hey, listen, you're coming in to coach James Harden, you're coming in to coach Russell Westbrook, you're coming in to coach a whole lot of players that are not here now. And he found out after he took the job that he was going to be part of let's lose as many as we can so we get top draft choices, Jalen Green, we get top draft choices, and do it again. And now that you are ready to be better, he's gone. And you notify him while he's in another arena in another city at another state, and they have not even left the arena yet. That's as trash as it can get. That's as bad as the Texans with their one and done with head coach David Culley and head coach Lovie Smith back to back. It's almost like the Rockets said, hold my beer so we can show you how to embarrass an organization. Stephen Silas is a good dude. I don't want to hear from we know everything Rocket fans. Stephen Silas didn't deserve this. Oh, he couldn't coach, AJ. Yeah, you can't either. He had the job, you didn't. Stephen Silas will get another job in the NBA. I don't know if it'll be a head coach. I don't know if it'll be, an assistant. I don't know. He will get another job in the NBA. But regardless, the Rockets could have handled this much better. Tillman Fertitta, be best, bro. In the words of the former First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, be best. Rafael Stone, be best. You got to be better than that. Got to do better than that. So now there are the usual suspects. Ime Udoka, Frank Vogel, other people. But the name that's kind of interesting is Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, I was no fan of when he took over Toronto, and after Dwayne Casey, year before that was coach of the year after that was fired, Nick Nurse came in and led them to the chip. Frank Vogel's got a chip. Ime Udoka got the Celtics to the NBA Finals and just ran up against a very good team that they just couldn't beat. Out of those three, I go this order. Nick Nurse, number one, Udoka, number two, and Vogel way down there. Way down. Scotty Brooks is another name that's been mentioned. Scotty Brooks played in Houston. Scotty Brooks has coached. I believe he's an assistant coach with the Rockets. If I had to put another name in the number 4 spot, it'd be Mark Jackson. I put Mark Jackson number 4. And I know people, even colleagues of mine, friends of mine, say, stop talking about Mark Jackson. You don't know all the stuff he did. Listen, y'all don't know all the stuff some of these other coaches are doing. I know that Mark Jackson led the Golden State Warriors to their best record in franchise history before Steve Kerr got in there and got them 73 wins with no ring. Mark Jackson should be off the banishment list, in my opinion. And if he can get the job here in Houston, I'll fully support him. So my list right now would be Nick Nurse, Udoka, Vogel, Jackson. I guess I'll go Brooks after that. But more than anything, this team needs ownership that has respectful leadership. I mean, again, you don't have to be just disrespectful and unprofessional and, knee-jerk reactions. You just don't have to do that. Handle your business. Respect the people that have worked tirelessly and hard for you, whether they were successful or not. You handle your business and you go on. Let me take my first break. I'll be back with more right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage, a loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I fall off that hurdle. I was devastated.
One of our hopes for the Olympic Games, Sharifa Barksdale from Tennessee, a fine intermediate hurdler, ranked 10th in the world at 400 meters.
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba, y la estadounidense Sharifa Barksdale está en.
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
8910 radio, I said a vehicle took a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. Represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
All right. That one's going to be coming out of the box here real soon. Y'all keep praying for us because, man, we're in a very critical stage of that production. So, again, if you have a Roku streaming device, download BS3 TV, and click on it, man. You will be glad you did. You'll see shows like Queen 3 and King podcast. That'll be on tonight at 7. And Life Happens podcast. That's another good one. Marriage is Real. That's another good one. All those on the BS3 network. So be sure and download and get it. If you don't have a Roku streaming device, get one. But in the meantime, go to bs3network.com. That's bs3network.com. All right. WNBA draft last night. No surprises for me that the number one pick was the best player in the game. I know y'all know Caitlin Clark. No, Aaliyah Boston, center out of South Carolina, went to Indiana with the number one pick. Number two, Minnesota got them a nice guard in Diamond Miller out of Maryland. Nice. And then Dallas. Man, I got to say some things about Dallas, but I'll talk about what they did in the draft first. Number 3, they got Maddie Seagrass out of Villanova. Maddie's a baller. Then Dallas got a pick from Washington, and they went Stephanie Soares, big woman. When I say big one, I'm talking about a center out of Iowa State. And then right behind that, Lou Lopez Senecal, guard out of UConn. So Dallas has 18 players on their roster, and guess what? They don't have room for all of them. So some of these ladies who got drafted, some of those ladies that played for them last year are not going to be on the team. And you say, well, that's no big deal. You know, if you're not good enough, no, they're good enough. The league is compressed because they do not have enough teams. The league is compressed because they do not have enough teams for all these ladies to have an opportunity to make it. And as a result, you're going to have some ballers on the current roster and in the draft that will not make the squad. And I just think that's crazy, man. That league has got to expand. They've got to expand, and they need to get their just due from sponsors and the NBA, cough up some more money and let those ladies be great. But anyway, Dallas is a prime example of it's going to be very interesting through training camp and the opening of the season to see some quality names that are not going to be on that team. At number 6, Atlanta got Haley Jones. Haley is amazing, man, out of Stanford, one of the better players in the draft. Indiana got Grace Berger. Indiana, to me, had the win of the draft. They to me, helped themselves more than any other team in the draft. Atlanta, though, got a true baller out of South Carolina with Letitia Amahir. She is the most versatile player in the draft, most versatile. She can play the 5, she can play the 4, she can play the 3, she can play the 2, and she's got handles to play and guard the 1. So I think Atlanta really got them 2 good players with Haley Jones and Letitia out of South Carolina. Seattle then went Jordan Horston, a very good combo player out of Tennessee. Zaya Cook from South Carolina is going to L.A. to play with the Sparks. Dallas again got another player, Abby Myers out of Maryland. And Minnesota finished up the first round with Maya Hirsch from France. Sister can ball. Now, I got to give love to UConn. I've got to give love to South Carolina. Got to give love to South Carolina. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 players taken in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Congratulations to those ladies. And most importantly, congratulations to Dawn Staley, head coach Dawn Staley, for the job that she is doing in South Carolina. And oh yeah, by the way, in the way too early top 25 rankings heading into women's college basketball, they got South Carolina at number 6. Okay. All right. They got UConn back at number 1. Figures. LSU still up near the top. But let me tell you something. To have Dawn Staley's South Carolina Gamecocks at number 6, just taking notes. What's up, Al High? What's happening with you, brother? Al High, Erica with a K. Erica, I you know what? I'm still kind of mad that we didn't hear your name in the NBA draft back in the day when you came out of Mizzou with those Tigers. Yeah, I feel like you could have helped one of those WNBA teams back then. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Just my 2 cents. All right, let me take another break. We'll be right back with more right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens Podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central. If you're looking for a sports program that gives you the flavor.
Washington Commanders? Really?
This whole thing stinks to high heaven.
That pulls no punches.
Thuggish act by a thuggish actor.
That gives you some humor.
Praise everything LeBron does and never criticize it.
If you want a show that gives you good times, then this is that show. BS3 Network proudly presents.
I am Cole Johnson, and welcome to
Cole Sports with a Z. Every Friday on Patreon, and every Saturday on YouTube, Spreaker, and all other outlets.
When the man said that Sharifa Barksdale is on the verge, she's getting ready to set the world record. And I lost concentration and I followed that hurdle. I was devastated.
One of our hopes for the Olympic Games, Sharifa Barksdale from Tennessee, a fine intermediate hurdler, ranked 10th in the world at 400 meters.
Posición game ball de Canadá, dominando la prueba, y la estadounidense Sharifa Barksdale está en...
When I fell over that hurdle, it ended my career. And then all of a sudden, my coach grabs me by the throat. And I was going through some paperwork and seeing that he had spent 10 years in prison. And I was just like floored. It turned to domestic violence. I was terrified. So if I left, I don't know if I was going to die. My family didn't know if they was going to get a phone call to say that Sharifa was dead.
8910 radio, I said a vehicle took a shot at me. Southbound on East 95th.
Broke the U.S. record in the 400-meter hurdles. Represented the United States of America.
Imagine being on the biggest, fastest roller coaster that you have ever been on. That's the way my life was for 20 years.
I never had no trouble out of her being what she wanted to be. Because if this is what she wanted to be a runner, well, God bless her, and he did.
I had to put this post up before we got done with the last hurdle promo. There was no WNBA when you graduated. So wait a minute now. You ended up playing overseas. I got to get you back on the show. You ended up playing overseas, and then when the WNBA started, you came back and tried out for a team. That's what happened. We got to get you back on the show. Yeah, we got to get you back on the show. We got to get you back on the show. So just plan for maybe Freestyle Friday. Let's get on here and freestyle this Friday, please. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about the WNBA draft. Also, I want to bring up, I got to get ready to go. I want to bring up, so there was a discussion, of course, still about Angel Reese and her not wanting to go to the White House after First Lady Jill Biden suggested that both LSU and Iowa be invited to the thing. Angel was like, "Nah, we ain't doing that. We'll go to the Obamas." And word came out that LSU was going to accept the invitation. Angel was not going, and then Angel changed her mind and decided she was going to go. And several people got on and were talking about it, and I got to pull the clip. I don't have it right now, but I have to pull the clip. But a sister was saying how this is not Angel flip-flopping. In fact, it's more of a continuation of the stuff that happens to Black people. They get mistreated. They get disrespected. And then they're supposed to just forgive because somebody, saw it in a different light. And it gets tiring, man. It gets tiring to always have to be the culture that tries to be the bigger person. Always have to. I mean, nobody apologized for calling her the names that they called her. Too hood and too ratchet and too much of a thug and all this. And Bob Costas with his European self, when somebody was trying to explain from a perspective that they understood, they've been there before, Bob Costas made the statement that those kind of comments only happen on social media, but nobody from print media or television media or radio media ever said that about Angel Reese. And the response was, are you sure? You don't know that to be a fact. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but my question to head coach Don Staley after their loss to Iowa told you everything you need to know. No, they might not be saying it on camera. No, they might not be saying it in a microphone. No, they might not be saying it in print. But when they're standing around with each other and they think they're in a safe space, talking to safe friends and colleagues and confidants, they're saying a whole lot of stuff that they would not say in print, that they would not say on radio, that they would not say on screen. They're saying a whole lot of stuff. And Costas needs to stop with that nonsense because he knows good and darn well he's probably said some things that he would feel a little bit, well, probably not now because you don't have to feel ashamed about anything now that's racist and bigoted. But there are probably some things that would be eye-raising if he had been recorded. We saw the emails with John Gruden and the former general manager, vice president with Washington that were very racist. And John Gruden was supposedly Mr. I'll give anybody a chance. And he proved to be a whole different person when nobody but the people he felt safe with were listening. So no, I got to pull that clip. I'll try to have that clip tomorrow. I'll try to have that clip tomorrow because that one right there bothered me. People are so willing to give a blanket endorsement for everybody that looks like them, even if they don't know them. And that's what Bob Costas did when he said, nobody, I can assure you, nobody in print, television, or radio media ever said any of those things about Angel Reese. Nah, bro. You don't know him like that. And you're giving out a blanket endorsement that your behind, your mouth, and your reputation can't back. Oh, AJ, just move on. It's been 3 weeks now. Yeah, it has been. But you know what? This is our life. This happens in our culture all the time. And just because you don't experience it, don't mean it ain't real. So yeah, I'll be talking about that tomorrow. We'll also pay off our winner of the Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Bracket Challenge. We'll pay off our winner tomorrow, get him his money. And man, I'm really excited. This young man has been hitting us up, and we want to make sure that he gets his money. Jameis Jeter, be paying him off. Hope to have a video of him saying I was the winner of $500 in the Lunch Break Weekly Keeping Up with the Joneses Bracket Challenge. But anyway, we want to celebrate that tomorrow as well. Don't forget, NBA play-in starts tonight. Atlanta and Miami in the early game. Minnesota and Lakers in the late game. We'll see who's about it. We'll see who goes and wins that number 7 spot and who will have to play on to try and secure a spot in the playoffs. So we'll see. All right, y'all. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you. There is nothing you can do about it except tune in tomorrow for Winning Wednesday. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Erica, Friday, us. Let's hang out. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you then. Y'all take care.
all year.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Number 1. The news site ProPublica detailed decades of expensive vacations provided by billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow, which have never been made public by conservative Justice Clarence Thomas. According to ProPublica, the Justice Thomas joined Crow on luxury trips for over 2 decades, including island hopping on an expensive yacht and trips to exclusive resorts on a private jet, none of which was disclosed. Harlan Crow said Thomas never asked for any of his hospitality and that he, Crow, never sought to influence Justice Thomas on any legal or political issue. Number 2. The Justice Department has launched an investigation into the possible release of Pentagon documents posted on several social media sites that appear to detail U.S. and NATO aid to Ukraine, but may have been altered or used as part of a misinformation campaign. Additional documents show how U.S. intelligence agencies spy on Russia, China, Israel, and South Korea, and discloses where the Central Intelligence Agency recruits some agents. Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh said Friday that the Department of Defense is actively reviewing the matter and has made a formal referral to the Department of Justice for investigation. Number 3, Jen Rowe went from being healthy and active to getting a heart transplant in just 50 days. Her health problems started as soon as the birth of her second child, Sienna, in November 2017, and was soon diagnosed with an uncommon form of heart failure called peripartum cardiomyopathy. In January 2018, she had her heart transplant, and since her experience, Jen has advocated for moms facing the emotional and physical toil of heart conditions to take charge of their heart health and know that many are preventable. Number 4, Crossley Green, 65 years of age, has been ordered to turn himself back into authorities by April 17 and return to prison 2 years after being released. According to court records, in September 1990, an all-white jury convicted Mr. Green of first-degree murder of Charles Chip Flynn, a 22-year-old man in Mims, Florida, and sentenced him to death. Green was released from prison in 2021 when his conviction was vacated due to prosecutors withholding evidence, but late last year, a court of appeals reinstated the conviction after stating the evidence was not material to the case. Check out the What You Need to Know newsletter for the full story. Number 5, the Biden administration plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for tens of millions of Americans is on hold until the Supreme Court decides if the relief policy is legal. Bills for most student loan borrowers, meanwhile, also remain on pause as part of the pandemic-era policy. Our celebrity CPA to the stars, Katrina W. Kraft, goes into detail about what all this means for current borrowers in our What You Need to Know newsletter. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Showing gratitude for the small blessings in life shows that you can handle the big blessings in life. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with comedian Damon Williams and producer extraordinaire Ahmed Gordon. And the return.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.